I am Sara Vargo. I'm excited to have you all here. We're a smaller group today, but we're mighty, right? We made it here in the storm. So these are some of the things that are important to remember as you embark on this search. You are mighty. You can do these things, right? You're Vermonters. Yes, I like that. So this is the college search, finding the right fit. We're going to be using this college comparison chart today. The hope is at the end of this presentation, you're going to have some key takeaways of the characteristics that you are looking for in your next move after high school. So these should be unique to you, things that you feel like are important. So sometimes, like, we do this stuff with our buddies who we've been hanging out with for a long time, right? Or our partners or our parents. And it's really important to remember that this is about you, right? These are about the things that are important to you in this next step. So throughout the presentation, we're going to have some would you rather questions. And I'm going to give you some time to think about them and share with someone near you. You can also, if you don't want to share, you can also just write it down. But really time to kind of pause and think about some of the questions that come up during this presentation. Can everyone see the screen okay? It's pretty big, right? Yeah. Okay, so there are all sorts of different programs that we can look at when we are thinking about our move after high school. So there are different lengths, right? Programs that range from 2 weeks to a year to a few years, right? Certificate and training programs are very specific, and that length for a certificate or training program is anywhere from a few weeks to a few years. We also have associate degree programs, bachelor's degree programs, and kind of combination bachelor's degree and master's degree programs. So the 2-year programs, also known as the associate degree programs, those really focus on a specific learning, something that you want to learn, more specific. You're really diving into one thing. Same thing with those certificate or training programs. The length will be different, but you're really diving into a specific something. A 4-year degree program allows you to focus on a program of interest while also learning about other things in addition to that specific focus. So a little bit more. And then the 5-year combined programs, those give us an opportunity to focus on something and have a real specific track that's leading us from our bachelor's degree on to our master's degree. So there are all different ways that you can get these programs. Small schools, bigger schools like a university. So this is one of our first questions that's going to come up. So I've written these down, so I'm going to look at my notes. So we can think about, do you all have your partner who you're going to share with at home? Yes, we're good? Okay. Would you rather attend classes in person where you can make strong connections with classmates and the instructor, but have a stricter class schedule, or mostly take online courses where you have flex of timing but might not make the same connections? So this is a big room. It's okay to, I wish I had music or something to play. But thinking about that choice, I'm going to pause for a minute. We're at 2:32, 2:33. We'll get back together. Okay. So that question also can be found, whatever you came up with, right? All of these programs might potentially have that option, but starting there to kind of know what sort of learning environment you might want to be in to explore one of these types of programs is really important. Next, kind of on to what am I going to study, right? Asking yourself questions about, what do I want to learn more about? What are some of the subjects that I'm taking now that really interest me? Or maybe that really interest me but aren't offered at my school? What types of programs might fit my learning style or academic goals? This is a really big one when we are thinking about our education after high school. This is an opportunity to either continue a sort of learning style that we've connected really well with, or maybe to explore one that we haven't been able to find in our current academic program, right? So this is really an opportunity to think a little bit more deeply about that. What do I hope to do, and how does that connect to my educational plan? And what if I have no idea? Right? So all of these questions, kind of thinking through them, is a part of the learning journey. So here comes our next break and pause. Would you rather go to a school that encourages you to explore many classes and many fields of study, or a school that has you dive right into your field of interest? Okay. Great. I really like seeing there are all sorts of different ways that folks in the room are kind of exploring these would you rathers, and I like it a lot. I'm hearing kind of students and parents asking more sort of exploratory questions, which is a really great key here. I like hearing that. People writing answers down, which is great. Maybe some a little bit more introspective sitting. These are all great ways to think more about the choices that are ahead, the opportunities, right? So campus atmosphere, or the atmosphere of the programs that we're exploring. What type of personality does the campus have? This is something that you could find from visiting the campus, like today, right? We're at UVM, it's snowy, it's March, it hasn't snowed all year, but if we only came to UVM today to experience this, we might think it kind of snows here all the time, right? So really exploring those campus atmospheres. If you can get on a visit, that's great, but there are also lots of other ways we can explore a campus, from talking to current students who might be attending there, looking kind of online for student reviews or watching videos that might be posted about the campus atmosphere. What are the academic expectations? So kind of the rigor of those campuses that we're exploring. All sorts of different ways that a student body might be combined, and what sort of supports are available to students. So knowing that when you go to school, you might kind of think about some things in your current academic environment that have been helpful to you, right? Are you someone who really values meeting with a teacher during study halls, right? Or do you really access kind of tutoring? Do you get academic support? Do you go to counseling services? Do you, there's like a myriad of different things, right, that we could be exploring now that we connect with, that you can also have when you go on to your next educational path, or they might not have it. So kind of being able to identify what are your academic needs and making sure the campus has that. Campustours.com is a website that has mostly videos that have been generated from schools, so you got to know that when you kind of watch them, but it's a good way to kind of see that personality or like vibe. You can sometimes get that from the video. If you can't visit on campus, right, you'll be able to see, is there green space? Is there not? Is it embedded in a city? Those sorts of things. So next one, would you rather go to a college where the campus is integrated into the city, so there is less of that campus community feel, or go to a school that has a close-knit community with a strong campus environment that might not be as connected to the town where the school is located? So the atmosphere is an important thing, right? Especially as we're making this decision. So there's another one we have for this. And if at any time I didn't say if there are any questions, please just raise your hand. We have a mic that can go around, and there'll also be time for questions at the end. So again, in thinking about the atmosphere, would you rather attend a school where most students live together in dorms and you have opportunities to make many new friends, or attend a school where most people live off campus and you don't pay for housing or meals? And you have the opportunity to make them on your own. So if I was looking at my chart right now, some of the notes that I would want to be making around campus atmosphere would be under the housing, right? In there, it might be something also having to do with the maybe the facilities a little bit. Maybe also the academic atmosphere. So also remember that with these conversations, kind of jotting down notes on that chart or in your notebook. Selectivity. So this is often a question that folks have about these programs, right? So some of the questions to be asking ourselves are, what chance do I have of getting into different schools? Some of you, probably most of you, have heard of a safety, match, and reach school. Knowing kind of your academic standing within your school, having conversations with your school counselor, your parents, to really figure out where academic matches might be for you. If you've taken the SATs, sometimes this can be a helpful marker to help you gauge what might be a safety, match, or reach school. What range of selectivity should I consider, especially for an academic scholarship or merit aid? Sometimes students who have done very well academically in school could find that going to a safety school could award them with more scholarships potentially. So academic scholarships. And again, really kind of finding that additional feedback from school counselors, teachers, coaches. That's really important when you explore selectivity, right? That's should be a conversation that's not only had at home, but also with kind of your team of folks that you trust in the academic environment. So whoever that is for you. So thinking about student life and diversity. There are also all sorts of different options, right, of ways that student communities might be comprised at some of these programs that we're looking at. Housing and meal options. That has an impact on student life, right? Because if all of our meals are being received within the school community, then that's also has something to do with the campus environment, right? People kind of going to the dining hall around the same times, things like that. How diverse is the student body? Are there students on campus that I feel like I would connect with? Are there students that look like me? Students that might look differently than me? Can I see myself on this campus? What opportunities and activities are available? Thinking about those extracurricular activities that we really like to do now and seeing if they are options at those schools that we're looking at. So sports is often one of the things to think about in this category. So if I play soccer now, but I'm not going to be on the college team, is there an option for me to play club soccer? Is there an opportunity for me to learn how to do rock climbing? Or is there a debate team on the school campus? Knowing about how students spend their time. And what do the students say? Asking questions. If you have the opportunity to go on college tours, you have someone who's a student, right? Most of the time leading those tours. Asking them questions about, like, what is it actually like to use this building that you're taking me into, right? Have you ever used the climbing gym? Do people use the climbing gym here? What about the pool? Can I use the pool If I'm not taking a gym credit, is that always open to me? Do other people use the pool? Right, kind of learning about how campus resources are used and how that might relate to being a student on the campus. If the program that you're looking at is a virtual program, asking questions about how students connect. Do students connect? Are there opportunities to connect virtually with those students? So the question here, would you rather attend a school that has clubs for your favorite extracurriculars but isn't your dream school, or attend a school that has everything but your favorite extracurriculars? And if you know what those favorite extracurriculars are, maybe write them down. We also started off today's programs by talking about March Madness, right? So another question might be, would you rather spend your Saturday at a large college athletic event, like a football game, or hang out in a relaxed setting with your friends on the weekend? Football game. We have one vote for football game already. Okay. So thinking about housing, there are all sorts of options, right? Knowing how the student body accesses the courses, right? Are there dorms where most of the students live, or do most students live off campus? Is it really important to you to make sure that you have housing at the program that you're going to, right? Making sure the program has housing facilities, or are you planning on living at home, right? That would be then less important. Is there a campus living requirement or multiple housing options? So some schools don't have housing. Other schools have housing, but it might only be for your first year. Some schools might require that you live on campus all 4 years. Some schools might have different options for types of housing. So thinking a little bit about that. And again, on your chart, you can write down any notes. Thinking about the physical campus, and does that match what you're looking for? You know, we're in Vermont. We have snow. Is that something that you really want to see in this next move or not? Are you hoping to move somewhere where it never snows? Or you want it to snow any time of year, like any season? Is the only season winter? The green space. This is always one that I kind of tend to come back to because we live in Vermont and there tends to be lots of green space. Is that something that we really want to make sure that we see, or do we want to change that? So writing down some notes about what kind of your thinking is important for you to have. Do you want to have access to hiking trails, or are access to museums more important? So this is another would you rather. Choose a school that is similar to the town or the state of Vermont that you live in now, or attend a school that is further away where the environment is different and you might meet many different kinds of people. when thinking about the facilities of the programs that you're looking at, thinking about, are there things that you would like to have access to that you have access to now? Or are there things that you might like to have access to that you've never had? I keep saying like the rock climbing gym, but I think of also like art facilities, right? Have you always kind of wanted to explore sculpture? Is that something that you would want to really make sure that you might be able to do when you make this move? Cost and affordability is also a really important factor that we think about. And one of the things that we really encourage folks to do is not make any decisions before knowing what the financial commitment is going to be to that decision. If you are in a place where you're taking out loans, the other thing that we say is that amount should not exceed your first year's salary, right? So really thinking about the cost and affordability of programs and making sure that that is also one of those criteria that you're thinking about. So the sticker price versus the actual cost, this is where applying for financial aid is really important. That number that we see may or may not be the actual number that we are asked to pay, and we have sessions about that later today. You can also find information out about the cost and affordability of programs that you're looking at through some really great search tools, and that we would really encourage you to use. There are programs that also allow you to access in-state pricing if an out-of-state institution has a program that the state of Vermont does not have, and that is NEBby's tuition program. So the University of Vermont currently does not have a marine biology program. You could use NEBby's tuition program to find a marine biology program outside of the state of Vermont and receive close to in-state tuition at that institution. As we talked about with selectivity, also consider applying to financial, safety, match, and reach schools. So the would you rather here is, would you rather attend your dream school no matter the cost, or attend your third choice school if the price is right? So oftentimes when we're thinking about those financial safety, match, and reach schools, we're going to use online tools like one of them that we say here is College Hunch, where you can kind of look at your family's income bracket and the average amount of financial aid that families within that income bracket tend to receive. We don't know how much a school is going to cost until we really get that award letter back. So that safety, match, and reach schools, that you're really kind of using some of those online tools to guesstimate, right, where you're falling, and not committing to anything until you get that award letter back that lets you know what you will actually owe at the end of the day. Outcomes information. So the other great thing with lots of this data that we have is that we can find out not only the financial investment that different institutions on average are for a family, but we can also find out how many students kind of might attend again for their sophomore year if it's a 4-year program. We can figure out kind of the completion rates. So how many students graduate from those 4-year programs within 4 or 5 years. We can figure out things like job placement rates. So one of the websites, College Navigator, not a lot of bells and whistles, but it has a lot of great information about the schools that you may or may not be applying to. And one of the great things about that site is that it's all sorts of different programs. So it has the 2- and the 4-year degree programs, but it also has other certificate and training programs that accept federal financial aid. So it's a federal database, really. So, how is everyone's chart looking? How are your notes looking? The ideas in your head, right? Those things. Hopefully, the wheels are turning. You're thinking a little bit deeper. Even if you haven't made any notes on your chart, now is a time to look at it and circle the top 3 things that you feel like are really important to you when making this next decision. So what are if you had to choose 3 things on that list, what might they be? And if you want to yell them out, I would really encourage you to do that. We have 7 minutes, so I can wait for people to start yelling. I'll tell you, I went to school a while ago, but for me, it was the size of the school, the academic atmosphere, and the facilities. Those were really important to me. For some of my friends, it was the selectivity. That was not something that was important to me, but that's because that's where I fit academically. Anyone want to shout out something? Location. Yes. Clubs. There's so many cool clubs, right? And that's something that you can find for any school, right? The different sort of clubs that they offer or activities. I think right now, another thing, we hear a lot about this in the media, is the cost or affordability of a program, right? It's a really important factor now. This next move can be quite an investment in making sure, it is always an investment, but it can also be a big financial investment. So making sure you're choosing wisely. One thing that we don't want to do is make a choice that's going to impact our opportunities after we graduate, right? That kind of dictates what we are or are not able to do. You'll see some of these college search engines. Some of you might be familiar with them. Again, the College Navigator is one that allows you to research all sorts of different programs. Big Future is mainly focused on those 2- and 4-year degree programs, predominantly 4-year programs. Cost and affordability, the college scorecard. That name wasn't coming to me when I was on the financial aid slide or the cost and affordability slide, but that's a really great website to look at. That has a lot of great data, and visually it's also nice to look at. The Consumer Financial Bureau, your financial path to graduation, that is a really great website that helps students navigate financial aid award letters. Financial aid award letters are not in a standard form, so your aid, how a school kind of tells you about that, is not standardized, right? So it allows you some assistance in decoding what that is saying, and project kind of what life might be like after graduation, if you are in a place where you're taking out loans. Campus tours, making sure you're attending college fairs, speaking with school counselors and your team. So if you don't have a team of folks that you trust to talk to, those of you who are lucky enough to have an outreach counselor with one of VSAC's outreach programs, or again, a school counselor, a teacher, a coach, your parent, a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, to really talk to them about this choice that's coming up, because it's a big one. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, I forgot this slide is very important. The wisdom to take with you slide. Be open to all options. Know the cost before you commit. Your preferences and goals may change as you explore options. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Research. You came up with 3 really important criteria for you today. That's a great starting point. You might be in a place where a lot of people are asking you, oh, what are you doing next year? And now you can say, I would like to do this, and these are the top 3 things that I'm focusing on. It's pretty good. Gather a trusted group of academic and personal supports that you can consult with when needed. Be organized, follow through, explore, and have fun. This is a big decision, but it can be a really fun one, and I hope that all of you find some excitement in this process as well. We're always a great resource too, VSAC, so if you're not following us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram. Check out our website, lots of resources there too. If anyone has any questions after, you're welcome to ask me or Beagle online. Are there any questions coming in? No questions coming in online? Sorry that I've been turning my back. Oh, but they're being answered. Thank you. Good. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.